What up, Dynasty players in the house? It's the Dynasty front office, part of the Dynasty Warzone Network. Please like and subscribe. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. I've got two hosts. Here comes trouble. Let's make it double. The auspicious Austin Bell. How you doing tonight?
That is awesome, man. I'm doing great. I'll claim James, as I discussed pre. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. It's been a fun part. 3 weeks away from the draft. How are you?
I'm excellent, man. I had a hard time keeping that. I've had that plan for a couple days. That intro. I've had a hard time keeping it secret from you guys.
That was good.
And my main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing tonight, Chad?
Good, man. I'm doing good. I've forgot to adjust my volume down, so your screaming has me a little disoriented. But no, I'm back. I'm back, and I guess if you're James Austin, I guess I'm Meowth.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, I made it one.
Well, I guess I have to be Jesse.
And that's the leader anyway, so it does fit.
I don't know about that. I think Meowth's kind of the brains behind the whole thing, but
okay.
I said leader, not brains, because I'm not sure any of them have that.
All right, so tonight we are going to do our rankings. Finally, we're going to actually tell you in order what we think of these guys. We've been telling you what we think of these guys bit by bit over the last couple months, doing our profiles, getting into some conversations. We had a mock draft a couple weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. Got to pick the brains of Memphis and Dallas, but now it's just us three, and we're going to get down and dirty. We're going to do QBs and tight ends tonight, wide receivers next week.
Yes, sir.
RBs the week after. And then the week after that is the draft, and stay tuned for surprises. We've got some things planned for that week.
That's right.
All right, y'all ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we're doing QB first because tight end. I mean,
I like the tight end class better than the quarterback class.
Well, I just don't want people tuning out right away.
Oh, yeah. That's the good tight end class.
Not the best QB class, though. Next year looks probably next year could. People are already comparing next year to like the Marino Elway year.
Yeah, I don't see that, but it could be competitive like last year's, where we have 5 or 6 guys we're intrigued with.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, but we can't really talk about that now.
No, we
can do this year. Yeah, right. So, yeah, we all have Cam Ward first, right?
Correct.
Chad?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's talk about Cam Ward a little bit and why we have him first. Austin, do you want to go?
Sure. Ceiling is the simplest answer. I think he's probably the only quarterback in the class that I can see a clear-ish path to be a top 6 quarterback in a year. Still some question marks, but overall I believe he's got the best path and likely going to be the 101, which hoping they trade out Tennessee does, but at Tennessee kind of hurts me a little bit for what I feel about him. I don't love the system, the weapons, the line, the coaching, but he's a good player. He will need some work, but he's of this class, he's the best option clearly to me.
At this point, it's pretty obvious that they're going to take him. The Giants have made it clear that they're not trading up for him. Whatever they want is too much. The Browns don't seem interested in trading up for him either. So they're either going to take him or Abdul Carter?
Yeah. Travis Hunter.
Or Travis Hunter. If that happens, the Browns will snap him up in a second.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think Tennessee's a decent landing spot.
Why?
Well, Brian Callahan is at least an offensive-minded coach, and while I don't think he really catered to Will Levis last year, he didn't give him the great support. I do think it'll be a good offensive environment for him. My concern is that he's going into a situation where this is the system, this is what we run. You need to learn this, and they're not gonna cater to the things that he does well, which is what I think good coaches do. So I'm a little concerned about Callahan. I do think the offensive line is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, they have spent money. That's true.
the left tackle they brought in from the Steelers is not one of the league best, but he's average to above average, and that's a big improvement over what they had last year. And having Brian Callahan's father as the offensive coach with another year there, I think things will start to gel. They need weapons, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley's not going to carry that team.
Ridley, Traylon Burks, Van Jefferson is their official top 3 receivers on their website currently.
Any
With there's not even the only other name I know on the receiving core is James Prochet. That's it. That's the only other name I even know.
He's more of a special teams guy. So
Correct.
who's their? They have
Chig at Concord.
Chig, yeah, right. Chig and two good receiving backs. So if they were to add like a couple good receivers, and there probably aren't a couple good receivers to add in this draft, but I mean, they do need to do something though. Chad, what do you think about Cam Ward and Cam Ward to Tennessee?
Yeah, I like the player quite a bit. I've been pretty high on Cam since really this past college season, but I think he's got all the tools. I don't really see too many like huge negatives with him. Maybe a little bit of breakdowns under pressure. But I think that's gonna come with some of these guys who are coming out that are a little bit more in the realm of trying to improvise and make things happen on their own outside of a system, which he does quite a bit. As far as him landing with Tennessee, it's just the talent around him. But that's the trade-off, right? With going number one, if he is going to go number one, is you're probably going to end up on a bad team, and you're going to have to make things happen. So. It is what it is. If Tennessee, for some reason, doesn't take him, which I think is probably as much of a foregone conclusion as you can have this time of year before the NFL draft. But if for some reason they don't, then I mean it's probably a better team is gonna end up taking him. So
I would rather he went to the Browns, to be honest. They seem to catch a lot of shade. People really negative about the Browns, but Stefanski's a good quarterbacks coach.
Yeah, he would fit well in Stefanski's offense. That's what I was going to ask is, do you Jesse, you brought up that Callahan didn't cater to Levis at all last year, which I completely agree with, and a huge red flag for me.
Yeah.
Do you think Cam Ward fits in Brown Callahan's offense? I guess what we saw with Burrow-ish is what we're assuming it's going to look like.
I think Shador actually fits that mold better than Cam Ward, to be perfectly honest with you. That's the type of quarterback Shador is. See it, diagnose it quickly and distribute the ball. And Cam Ward isn't really that type of. He's a good unstructured quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's not Caleb Williams. The can't stay in the pocket and deliver a pass, but yeah, it's concerning for sure. I would much rather see him with the Browns, and I actually like the Browns' weapons better.
Yeah. So Vegas odds have him at minus 2,000 to go 1 overall. So
what's the next player?
Plus 900.
Okay.
It's Abdul.
I think it's pretty much
okay.
It's as big of a lock as you can get. Like I said, this time of year where there is some uncertainty there, but I mean, all indications they're gushing over him.
And people have talked about how good of a worker he is and willing to put in the work. So that's what you want as a franchise guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So that gives me hope for him. My 2 red flags would be the footwork in and out of the pocket. He just loves to throw at every foot and arm angle possible, which works in college. I'm just worried it won't work in the NFL. And like you said, structure. He lived and died off of out of structure plays. He had the second most touchdowns last year out past 3 seconds from the snap. And that's just because that's what he did. I mean, as we talked a couple months ago, that he just throws the ball. He just stands there. Be 5 seconds in the pocket, just standing, and just chunks the ball side-armed 35 yards on the dot.
Sometimes it seemed like he forgot he was playing a football game. He really just
Yeah,
stands
he's-
there so calm.
Yeah.
It's weird
But-
to look at.
I mean, he makes it look good. Like, I'm not trying to. He's easily the clear one for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not even close. But the real question for me, for y'all and the audience, is where would you have him last year as a prospect?
Chad, why don't you answer that first?
I would have probably had him 3 or 4.
I'd have him after Drake May. So 4.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't be above the Williams.
Well, I had Drake.
Daniels,
I
or
had
May.
Drake May 1. I had Drake May 1, Caleb 2, and the only one that I mean, because obviously we're not talking about
prospect side, absolutely.
Yeah, we're talking about just the prospects. I might have had him over Jaden Daniels, to be honest.
Oh wow.
I had Daniels second, so definitely not. Caleb, Daniels, and Drake were.
I think they're clear
me.
better prospects
Yeah.
in my opinion.
But I would have liked him better than Bo Nix and Penix and JJ McCarthy for sure.
I think he's right there with Penix for me. I wasn't a Bo fan and really wasn't a JJ McCarthy fan, but I think he's right there at Penix. Similar talent player, just no injuries and younger, or less injuries and younger.
I was probably highest on McCarthy out of those 3. So I'd have him above McCarthy for sure.
Okay, so 4. That's fair.
Yeah. The problem, the red flag for me is the things he has to be elite at he's not elite at yet, right? So he doesn't have elite arm strength or athleticism to fall back on. So it's a little bit like Stroud, where he just has to be so good at seeing it and delivering it and being magic, outside of the pocket, but not necessarily taking off and running all that often because he's not that athletic.
I mean, I think he's an above average athlete for a quarterback.
But
he's not elite, but you don't need to be elite. You just need to move.
He's not going to be able to bail himself out with with rushing, is what I'm saying, or with his arm.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, if he has a catastrophic rookie year, there's not a Justin Fields outlet. But I just don't. I think he's a better passer than that.
Well, so he is. He definitely is. But what I'm saying is, because he doesn't have the elite traits to fall back on, it's a narrower path that he has to walk.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm not saying that he can't be successful. I think he very well can. I think I have him as my 102 right now in rookie drafts. So,
yeah, I don't view that as a negative, because you could say that about 95% of quarterbacks, right? Like,
well, these days, a lot of times you get guys with elite arms. I mean, Drake May had elite arm and better athleticism. I trust Drake May to take off and run before Cam Ward.
I don't think Drake May's arm is that much better than Cam Ward's.
I agree with that. I think their arms are similar. I think May had better accuracy if you're involved in that part of the arm.
Well, I don't know about that one. I don't know. May is really inconsistent with accuracy.
I just mean the arm strength. I think Drake May has.
I don't similar.
I think they're
arm than Cam Ward.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I think Drake Mays is probably stronger, but I don't think by any noticeable amount. Like, if you're watching the two, I don't think you're like, oh man, Drake May's much stronger arm. I think you'd have to really try to pay attention and maybe Drake May edges it out. But Cam Ward's got a pretty strong arm. And Drake May, we're getting to a whole different discussion here, but Drake May's throwing passes into the dirt every, few passes, easy, pitch and catch passes. He's, throwing into the dirt.
College. Yeah.
Yeah. In college.
Yeah. He was a little erratic at times in his last season for sure.
Yeah. I don't think you see that as much with Cam Ward. I would say, on the really accurate passes. Yeah, sure. Drake May is, I think, got maybe a more skillful arm at the moment, but just some of the magic that Cam Ward's able to pull out. I don't see any negatives with his athleticism or with his ability to throw and less than ideal situations.
Okay. And I didn't mean that his athleticism or arm are a negative. I just mean it's a negative that it's not.
Yeah. Do you feel like he
Josh
has an
Allen.
elite trait?
Right. That's I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Because
I do.
What is that?
I think it's his outside of structure playmaking ability. I think that's pretty elite for the
Okay.
level that he's playing on now, as far as you know, him coming in as a rookie quarterback. Now, whether he's able to replicate that in the NFL with, smaller windows and bigger, faster players all around him, that's something else, right? Not many players are able to do that, but the rate at which he's doing it in college, as far as making these crazy plays that people shouldn't be making, I think that's pretty elite. Also, I think he's, what you guys mentioned beforehand, his poise in the pocket, I think, is elite. Just the amount of comfort he's able to show in the face of danger, and which leads to those kind of off the wall plays. I think that's elite as well. So I mean,
he's
maybe
good in the pocket. I think he's good at working out of the pocket. I don't think he does well handling pressure in the pocket, but I think if he's able to get out of the pocket, that's where he shines.
But he gets out of the pocket so much. I mean, that's part of his poise.
Yeah,
he's in control when he's doing it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think he puts his offensive lineman in a bad situation like some quarterbacks do. Like we mentioned Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields puts his offensive lineman in bad positions, right? Because he doesn't, there's no game plan to what he's doing in the pocket. It's just, I see pressure, I feel pressure, move around, right? I think Cam Ward has a certain poise about him, has a certain feel in the pocket where he knows when to escape. He knows when he needs to get out of there. And it's not putting a bigger burden on the guys trying to protect him, is what I'm trying to say.
I think how well he fits with the two Callahans cannot be overstated. Like that really is kind of a key here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be huge for his success because Chad brings up a great point that his biggest strength is the ability to get out of the pocket and make a play. But I would also say it's one of his biggest red flags because that's when his erratic throws come. Because he doesn't set his feet properly. His arm angles are from underhand to three-quarter motion. So it's because he's a playmaker that happens, but it also looks so unrefined at times that that's going to have to be coached into him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's part of the process, though, right? Is getting these guys and getting them underway where you have a full off season with them and you can start working on the mechanics and the fundamentals. And we mentioned guys like Drake May, who, I mean, that was a big thing with him too, right? Like inconsistent with mechanics, and maybe that's why some of those balls are getting away from him in college.
Absolutely,
but we didn't see that in the NFL. So I'm really hoping that some of the flaws that he does have, like the mechanics issue, and even some of the decision making when under pressure. I mentioned up until that point, he's pretty elite at the feeling that pressure, escaping, also not putting the players around him in bad situations, but also some of the decision making once he's in those situations with when he's throwing the ball can be a little suspect at times. So I anticipate some of that stuff can be improved, but we'll see. It's always a coin flip from here, right?
For sure. And Mike Kinney in the chat brings up O-line play will have a lot of impact. And for this class specifically, which it does for every rookie quarterback, but O-line play is going to be ginormous for every one of these guys because none of them are really good enough to elevate over that. Cam is good out of structure, so that helps that. But for these guys, it's going to be huge for all of them.
So for context, I'll give you context for all of these guys. I'm in the process of a rookie draft right now. We're in the 6th round of a 14 team league. Cam Ward went 106. Was pretty surprising.
And Superflex?
Superflex, yeah.
That feels like extremely good value.
Yeah, that's great.
How
many teams?
14.
Yeah,
this is
that's nuts. That is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tyler Warren went 104. Luther Burden went 105.
All right. So number 2 for everybody. Is it the same?
I have Shador. Chad?
Yeah, I have Shador.
I have Jackson Dart.
Really?
I do. And it's kind of I'm playing a ceiling play here. I think that he has a much higher ceiling than Shador does. Where the floor, and again, the draft is most likely going to change this. I mentioned pre-show that I kind of just did a player rankings to what I thought they could be and what, thinking of floor and thinking of ceiling. And I mean, Jackson Dart to me has that Herbert S ceiling. Now he could also flame out in the first year, but I think he makes special plays that you don't see a lot.
Should I go or you, Chad? All right, I'll take it. First of all, he does not have nearly the arm of Herbert. I understand that people are in love with Jackson Dart's deep ball, but that's not a measure of arm strength by a Justin Herbert standard. All right, that guy can throw off his back foot across his body, across the field on a line on a deep out or a post. I mean,
Well, hold on. I didn't
it's
say he was Justin Herbert. I said a
totally
Justin
different.
Herbert-esque ceiling.
I see his ceiling as like Brock Purdy.
Oh
And
no,
and
no
and
chance.
it'd
They're
take
not
a
even
lot for him to
similar
get.
players.
No, I mean as far as like maybe he can break like a borderline QB1 if he was in a perfect situation and perfectly developed. I just he's an average talent to me.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be really landing spot dependent for him. He could drop down to my board to 4 if we're going to be honest. But
We just talked about how Shador's ceiling is Joe Burrow.
yeah, but after this is why I didn't like doing this over the previous months. I've been able to watch a lot more tape.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
fine.
would say it's much more ceiling is Jared Goff, which is
I
still
agree with
good.
that.
That's still good,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a ceiling to me.
Mm-hmm. I
Whereas
understand. I am not in love with Shador by any means, but I think he's a much better processor. I just think he's a better football player. I think he understands the game more, and he has a much better shot at sticking because of that.
yeah,
I
that's
I
fair.
wanna
And he-
really like Jackson Dart. I really do. Just because some of those special plays you talked about. And I think there's some really, really interesting things about his game. He's the kind of prospect that you would say, okay, like there's something here. Like if this does hit, like it can be pretty special. But man, he just reminds me so much of Zach Wilson.
But that's fair too. We lost Chad, but that's also fair. Like Zach Wilson was polarizing. You watch plays and you're like, dang, he might be the best quarterback in the class. And then where he went and what happened is he never got to develop. He got thrown to the wolves on a bad team with a bad organization, and it never happened.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't even mean as a I don't even mean as a prospect. I mean as a player, right? Like, just some of the same weaknesses that they have. Like, as Zach Wilson as a prospect, I was like, whatever. But I mean, I didn't see some of those same negatives, like major red flags that you see in the NFL with him. Man, it's just with Jackson Dart, some of the inconsistencies, some of the it's like he can make a really special play, and then you won't see that level of flash again for an extended period of time. And tie that together with just some of the decision making, like under pressure, where he's not really. It doesn't feel like he's seeing the game very well. And I didn't watch a ton of them. I only watched like 5, maybe 6 games, to try to evaluate them, but. I don't know. Just Shador feels like so much more of a ready to go prospect than he does. Where
Absolutely.
with him, it feels like it's literally you're getting him as a projection that if he does hit, he has some of the tools. But yeah, it's where do you see him going? I guess is what I'm.
Late first is my assumption. I think a team like Pittsburgh would be phenomenal. Stable organization, 2 big weapons for him to throw to, good run game, good defense. That's the kind of place.
You better hope he gets along with Aaron Rodgers now.
Yeah. I think that's fair. He seems like a back end of the first, early second round player for me. So I think that if with that context in there, I think that's fair. I just with you having him at second, I didn't know if that meant like you think he's a top 15, top 10 player.
Well, see, I'm not so sure Shedeur is either.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too.
I agree with that too.
I mean, I do agree with everything you said about Shedeur. He's a more NFL ready player now. He should be if he goes to the right system. Like if Cleveland takes him and Stefanski uses him, he'll go to 2 for me in a heartbeat because that's the type of system he needs.
Yeah.
But if he skips over and like let's say, which Vegas just signed Geno, but let's say he goes to Vegas. If Geno didn't get re-signed, I would hate that. No stability, Pete Carroll, like I just don't feel comfortable with that at all. So like I need him in a system which is going to be really the rest of these quarterbacks that we talk about. I need Shedeur in a system that I feel like it's going to be 1, 2, 3 ball out, weapons on the outside to make a play and go. Because if he's going to have to create or if he gets pressured consistently, man, I don't think he's a starter personally.
Yeah. Jackson Dart's an interesting prospect. I wouldn't be surprised if he panned out and he was a really high-end quarterback in the league, like top 10 player. But it also wouldn't shock me if he was like out of the league in 5 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he'll make a good backup.
Yeah,
I think he will be a bona fide, holy heck, what did we miss? Or, like you said, he's gone by the end of his first contract.
Yeah.
I think you said it perfectly with Shedeur, Austin. The only thing I would add is that his protection will be very important. He needs to be
ginormous.
He absolutely needs to be protected as paramount.
Which he does throw really well under pressure, but that's the only thing under pressure he does. Like he's not good moving in the pocket. He's not good evading the pressure. He can place the ball still because he got pressured a lot, which is funny because he actually had a better O-line rating than Jackson Dart at Ole Miss and Cam Ward, which was pretty crazy. Looking at that, I know that face. I said the same thing, but they had the 50th best O-line rating per PFF last year. Colorado did, and Jackson Dart was like 90 something, and Cam Ward was in the 70s.
PFF O-line ratings can be so all over the place.
Of course. I mean, it's all subjective, but I'm not going to sit there and watch enough O-line play to tell you my ranking.
But it's obvious when you watch Shedeur.
But I mean, I think
he also holds the ball.
That's where exactly where I was going.
That's true too.
There was no processing there. He didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do I need to go?
Also, if you look at their offense, it was a high school offense. Like literally 4 spread every time, no outlets, no hot reads, like no quarterback's best friends, like no tight end. He had nothing to like. If shit went wrong, what was he supposed to do? Throw it to Dion?
So is he NFL ready then? Because that's a scary statement.
That's a good question. I think he's smart enough to figure out a hot read. I think he probably begged for it. I don't know. I mean, it's curious to I just don't understand like why. I understand. So I do understand that their best weapon was not in their offensive meetings. Right? So Travis Hunter was not in their offense. So I think their offense probably started to work with Travis Hunter, and he's just running all these bullshit plays, screens and hitches or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why their offense never really developed. I don't know. It's kind of a weird question. But I think he's smart enough to figure out a hot read in the NFL.
Yeah, he looks football smart. I'm not trying to down the guy. Like I said, he can definitely play.
Everybody says he's tough as nails. Like nobody questions his toughness.
Yeah, I agree.
And his desire and his his work ethic is all there. So cool. When it comes to Dart, though, I actually have him 4th.
Ooh.
I got my boy Shug above him.
Oh my.
Yeah. So it's a little weird because he's I don't know. I think he graduated 2 years after me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you listen to the show, that's an old joke. Seriously though, I think he's actually 26 right now.
He's 25. He'll be 26. I think it's next month.
Okay. Injury history is crazy. So my whole pre-draft ranking is predicated on some team taking a chance on him, like in the second round, and there being a path to him being the starter.
I mean, for me, the rest of these quarterbacks outside the top 3, which I guess technically you could even obviously throw them, these guys have to get early day 2 capital for any of them to matter.
None of the rest of those guys have the talent of Suge, though.
The arm talent. The rest of it, no.
The athleticism is there too.
Dude has no sense of urgency in the pocket. If he gets pressured, he might be the worst quarterback I watched.
He runs around. He makes some things happen.
He doesn't do anything with it. He runs around. He turns it into backyard football.
Yeah,
if he gets pressured, he is atrocious. But now his highlights, like if we talk about his good, he's a top 10 quarterback.
I mean, I've watched entire games of his, and wow.
The arm talent's phenomenal. I'm not going to diss that.
It took a while, but there were a couple of bad moments with some picks and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I can really see it with him.
Yeah, I wanted to an early game or 2 film. I was super excited. I got into him, and between being 26, between having 4 major injuries,
yeah, the negatives are
the pressure. Man, he's 7th for me.
The negatives are so bad that he could be a day 3 guy.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then he's probably 7th for he's outside of the tier that I give a shit about.
Yeah.
Which we just talked about, by the way.
I mean, in reality, yes. The top 3 is all I really care about.
One more that I'll discuss. Chad, any thoughts on Suge?
No, I think you guys said enough on him.
Chad,
fair enough.
All right, then there's Milroe.
No, you're missing the one that could be an NFL quarterback. No.
Who am I missing?
Will Howard.
Are we just throwing our rankings out of the window right now?
Yeah, the rankings were all over the place, so I guess so.
Milroe's my 4.
Milroe's your 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's my 5. Just because there is some ceiling. That's it.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I have him anywhere above Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel.
I mean, the way I see it, right? Like if I'm an NFL GM, and I'm looking for a guy, and I'm in that area where I'm like, okay, I just want to take a shot at somebody. Milroe's the guy to do it with. I don't think you're going to have to pay crazy capital for him. And man, his ability running the football is going to be pretty special. Some of that stuff, if you can design an offense around him. I mean, a lot of the things that people are saying about Milroe, obviously not as developed as Lamar Jackson was coming out, but Lamar Jackson wasn't very developed.
He was way better of a passer. Hold on now. Leaps and bounds. Dude, Jalen Milroe had 5 touchdowns and 11 interceptions in the SEC this year.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is Lamar Jackson in the NFL, his first couple of seasons was absolutely atrocious, right? And it took developing an NFL roster around him and giving him the license to run and figure things out over time. I'm just saying, it's not in zero chance that happens with Milroe.
Sure.
So he has the elite ability to do that. I think if somebody has that offense already in place, which not many offenses do, but let's say the Eagles or the Ravens or somebody like that grabs him, and says, okay, let's see the Colts. Then I mean, I'd be like, okay, this is something to at least consider.
Does it have to be the 2nd or 3rd round for you to care at all?
Probably the late 2nd, early 3rd. I think, and I think that's fair. I think he actually probably will go in the 2nd or 3rd.
I agree with that.
So you guys are sci-fi fans. What happens if you touch yourself from another dimension? Does it cause some kind of
see yourself? It's really not good. I don't know about touch, but seeing yourself's not good.
Oh, okay. Well, then they shouldn't be on the same team. Anthony Richardson.
Oh, it'd be perfect. Anthony Richardson would win the job easily.
I'm just afraid of.
I mean, I don't I don't know. I don't know if Anthony Richardson going to beat out Daniel Jones. So
Reality is
Well, I
colliding.
didn't say anything about Daniel Jones. I said Milroe and
Oh,
Anthony
Daniel
Richardson.
Jones is there too. Oh my God.
He's absolutely going to win the job. But
That'd be fun to watch.
the
I mean, from a
electricity with
non-Colts
Milroe,
fan.
yeah, absolutely. Thank the Lord I'm not a Colts fan. But the electricity with Milroe is amazing. But man, he is not a good passer. Outside of I think it was the Georgia game, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah.
One game this year. No, it wasn't. I don't remember what game it was this year. One game, he looked like a NFL level quarterback passer. The
Yeah,
rest of the
it
games
was
I
early on.
watched, yeah, it was early. He had like 300 and some yards passing and had like 100 and some yards rushing.
Yeah, it looked like.
After that, man, ugh, ugh.
If somebody were to take him and stash him and develop him, he's got the God-given ability to be a
Oh, God,
QB1 in this league.
Oh yeah, for fantasy, like Chad said, I mean, he could be the QB1 in fantasy if they just let him run free. I mean, the dude is electric as can be, but I don't know if he's going to throw any yards. He may have like 800 yards passing and 1,500 yards rushing.
But he's got the arm if he could ever figure it out.
That's the problem is he throws a rifle from 3 yards or 33 yards. It doesn't matter. It's the same pass.
So the last thing I'll say on him is McShay's thoughts are, and he says this about Tebow and who else? Somebody else. Get out of the weight room.
yeah,
man, get you out of here with that.
I mean, I think there might be something to that. I mean, just the guys having a little bit too much bulk on them and too much weight.
Yeah,
You just don't see any successful quarterbacks that have that amount of weight on them.
Wow.
As far as like being muscled up for their structure, right? Like you can talk about guys like Cam, but he didn't look like abnormally big, right, for his size.
Yeah, he did.
Dude,
Cam, no, I'm saying for his
Cam
size,
Newton?
for his build. Cam Newton for his build looked, he looked like he could carry his weight, right? You got guys like Will Levis that, I mean, he looks like
Superman.
Yeah, like he looks like he should be playing Clark Kent in the next DC movie. Right? So I mean, I don't know. I think some guys that can carry their weight, they're just bigger players, like that's fine, but
yeah.
I think, adding bulk as a quarterback, I mean, you just don't see it very often where it works out.
Man, I get what you're saying.
Hurts a little bit with the squatting.
Yeah, but I think he carries it well. He looks like a solid player. I mean,
he does. And he's not. I mean, he's a little stiff though. I will say.
Yeah,
like
his hips are stiff.
I would love for him to be, a little more loose.
Yeah,
maybe he should.
That's fair. It's just a touch for Milroe. He just has none of it.
Yeah,
none. But my number 4 is Will Howard, and it's solely off of he has to go to the system like McVay or Shanahan. You said Brock Purdy earlier.
What do you see in him that tells you that?
A system quarterback who can absolutely run a system very well with good weapons around him. Yep. Brock Purdy. I think he can absolutely run a competent system with good weapons around him. His Ohio State film started rough. And when they lost to Oregon, I think that was week 3. From that moment on, he got better and better. I mean, he looked like a competent quarterback, and by the college playoff, he looked like an NFL able quarterback.
He looked really good in one of those games.
He looked good in all of them games, dude. He was 14 of 15 for like 170 some yards against Notre Dame.
I only watched one of them, so
I mean, it's I don't know. It's totally system dependent, which I don't think these other guys like below him for me are system dependent. But if he goes to one of the if he goes to the Rams in the second round, I'm going to be extremely intrigued.
Okay. Yeah, same. Because of the Rams, the Vikings, the Niners, Dolphins.
Yeah, another one. I think he's a perfect system quarterback, but he cannot create a system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Browns.
I mean, if they didn't take a quarterback early,
I think he's going to be a really good backup.
That's absolutely. I think he can be a top end backup, but in the right system can be an NFL starter.
So let's
I think he's
say
going to be. I think he's like a Davis Webb kind of player. Should be going in like the 3rd round, maybe 4th round.
was that
that's
the
just how I see
Texans
him.
guy before Stroud?
No, that was Davis Mills.
Oh.
Davis Webb was the Giants guy. I think he played for the
He's out of
Jets
Richmond,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else did he play for?
I don't remember. I remember the name, but I don't remember.
So,
Or no, not Davis.
I was going to say, bro, that seems like a really harsh statement.
yeah, you're losing me with Davis Webb.
I forgot the guy's name. I think he's
Daniel
coaching
Jones.
now. No, not Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a much better prospect than Will Howard.
He is that.
So let me ask you this: let's say he goes to one
Chase
of those
Daniel.
teams.
Dave Donaldson says Chase Daniel, and that's fair.
Okay. Chase Daniel. The problem with Chase Daniel is he always thought he was a starter in the league and wouldn't accept himself as a backup, like a career backup.
Yeah,
He's kind of a prick about it.
That's kind of my point. Is Will Howard at 4 is he's the perfect backup, like he really is. But
So let me
that's
ask
kind of
you:
the point.
let's say he goes to one of these teams in a perfect situation behind Tua or Brock Purdy. Where would you take him in a rookie draft?
I wouldn't have to take him before like the late 2nd, early 3rd, and at that point, depending on the running back landscape, which is going to be
Really,
really
taking him that
important.
high? I was thinking you were going to say like.
I mean, if he goes day 2, then yeah, I'm absolutely going to be all over him in the 3rd if he goes to one of those places.
If he goes to one of those places, it's going to be day 3. Don't you think?
I mean, depends. Well, my thing was the Rams, which Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stafford, or
Yeah.
actually the Dolphins could,
Yeah.
Take a day 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. Who did the Vikings bring in?
I don't know. That's a good question.
They bring in anybody?
I was going to say anybody.
I could have sworn they brought in a veteran. No, I guess not, because they're still talking to Aaron Rodgers. I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't think they brought in anybody.
Right on. Get to work, Wazy.
Yeah, they got Brett Rippon as the backup currently.
Yikes. Yeah,
It was Ryan Nassib is who I was thinking about. He reminds me of Ryan Nassib. I don't know. That's a pretty deep.
I was going to say that's not
Syracuse
any
quarterback.
better than Davis Webb. At least I knew who that was. I know the name, but that's it.
Similar level prospects, 3rd, 4th round. It just played similar games. Yeah.
All right. Any other quarterbacks we care about?
Depends on draft capital. I mean, I'm not a Quinn Ewers fan by the slightest, but if some team believes him in day 2, then I'm going to take him at some point in rookie drafts because he is only 21 years old. He's shown flashes that he can be very good. He's also shown flashes that he can be terrible. So if a team believes in him that he can at least be something, then I'll take him somewhere. But otherwise, no.
He won't be on any of my rosters. He's just too erratic.
Yeah, he is absolutely that.
It would just take years for him to. No, thank you.
I mean, truthfully, the only guy that's even a little intriguing to me outside of the top 3 is Milroe for me, and that's it. And that's just if Milroe gets capital. Anybody else that, I mean, it's
mine's just Howard and Milroe really, and they're both so dependent on capital and landing spot.
Shug and Milroe for me. All right, tight ends.
Let's do it. It's a much better group.
Chad, can you talk about Tyler Warren so that we can give the rest of the time to Austin?
Let Austin go first. He loves.
No, I don't want to go first. I want to go 2nd or 3rd, or as long as I get to go, I don't really care where.
So yeah, Tyler Warren, I think, is probably the best, one of the better tight end prospects to come out in the last few years. I really, really, really think it's like him and Brock Bowers, 2 of my favorite prospects to come out in quite some time. It's hard to come out with like any real negatives for him. Maybe you can say he's not a true inline player, but for me, not a negative, just not the kind of player he is, right? And that's why he has some of these positives where he is literally a physical specimen, right? Route running, pretty elite. Confidence as far as like being able to run your route, go up against a linebacker, go up against a cornerback, go up against a safety, and go get the ball. Love it. Everything about him, I mean, I'm just infatuated with. If he's there in a super flex league for me in the top 5 pick, I'm going with him. I absolutely love the guy. I think there's not any scenario where somebody has him on a roster and they're taking him out to play some other role player at tight end. I think he's a 3-down tight end who's just going to play and be a huge part of whatever offense he ends up on. So I also think he's going to get top 10 draft capital. So there's that as well.
Damn.
Yes, sir.
All right. I was thinking top 15, but damn. Okay. What top 10? Who do you think's gonna jump in the top 10, Chad?
Gosh, I hope the Giants take him. I hope
Three?
I hope no, not a 3.
Wow.
I hope we trade back, but I hope we take him. So
Okay.
I love him, but I literally think it doesn't matter who takes him. To be honest with you,
The
I
Colts
think
would be
he's
my
Colts.
least favorite.
Yeah.
Least
That's
favorite,
the one that,
but
that I
still
hate.
with Daniel Jones, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it as long as Anthony Richardson's not playing quarterback, it doesn't really
Jalen
matter.
Milroe.
Yeah, or Jalen Milroe. But yeah, anywhere that has like even like a below average quarterback, I don't think it matters, man. I think he's I think he's pretty special.
The dude had 44 rushing attempts last year.
Yeah.
And did good with it. Like, it's crazy. 6'6", 257, and ran a sub 4.7. Oh my God. This day one ready to go. He's ready. I mean, he's an NFL ready tight end. I don't care about the 1 year production. Watch the tape. It's that simple. And I agree with Chad. I think he's a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, which just secures all the safety I need for my tight end.
Ready for a comp?
Sure.
Y'all remember Dallas Clark?
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of him. They wear the same number too. I think they're both 44.
They were.
Yeah.
I think
they
we
remind me a lot of each other. And he was that was Peyton Manning's guy, right?
Yeah. I think we talked about it a little bit in the group chat. Comp for me, my favorite comp that I've seen in quite some time. Jeremy Shockey.
Oh, that's right.
So,
they could be twins.
It is
They
crazy.
literally look like they're separated at birth, man. They look like the same guy.
Yeah, not just that's why it's my favorite. It's not just on the field; it's also DNA apparently. So,
Right on. Let's hope he's not as big a jerk.
He didn't. Everything I've seen, that's true. But everything I've seen, he's a big team player. Like
he didn't go to the U. He went to Happy Valley. So I mean, he's got that going for him.
Just score fantasy points, man.
That's right.
I hear you. Personality matters. So I guess the question is not like, well, all right, first, all right. I would say I have him probably at my 105 right now. Where do you have him, Austin?
I think the exact same spot right after Cam Ward for me.
Oh, you don't have Cam Ward 102?
I do not. And obviously it'll depend on where everybody else goes, but I do not.
He went 104 in this draft that I'm in, and he could move as high as that for me. Like if Marion Hampton goes in the second round,
depending on where, but yeah.
And it's not a landing spot that I love. I think I'd feel safer with Warren.
If Warren goes somewhere I like, and these running backs don't go where I love, I mean, I could be talked into 103, to be honest.
That's where he's at for me right now. He's 103 for me right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just think he's so safe.
I'm taking the quarterback though.
Well,
I am too. Yeah, I have Cam Ward at 102.
You're taking him above Tet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a better player than Tet.
Yep, he is. He's more NFL ready for his position too.
But he's going to score more fantasy points.
In tight end premium, I definitely think.
Well, that's what I'm talking about is tight end premium. Yeah, in a non-premium league, then we're not talking about him in the top 5.
No, not at all. And the premium at the position, because there's so few guys that can score and do score. Like after 4 or 5, who cares about the rest of them in the league?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a premium there. Whereas there's 25 plus wide receivers that I really like in the NFL. So
true. Compare him to Hawk as a prospect?
I didn't do enough scouting to give a educated answer there, so I don't even want to.
Were you high on Hawk?
I was,
Mhm.
for sure, but I don't remember well enough to say how I compare them.
Chad?
I like Tyler Warren quite a bit better as a
Quite a bit
prospect than I like Hawk.
I,
Yeah.
I loved Hawk. I was very high on Hawk. I was also a pretty high on Fan that same year, but
Yeah, me too.
um, very high on I like Warren better than Hawk. I'll say that.
The
I
only
think he's
two
a better
tight
player.
ends that I can remember probably liking a little better as prospects are Bowers and Pitts are the two that
Yep.
come to mind.
Yep, same here.
Way
I would have
different.
him. I would have him right behind those two, personally, as
They're all
strictly as
three
prospects.
way different players. So really hard to compare the three.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about as fantasy
Yeah,
prospects
just as
for
prospects. I get it.
for fantasy
Level
purposes.
of
Yeah.
prospects.
Yeah.
So how far do we all have Loveland as our second?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's clear second.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Not
I'm
close.
probably higher on Loveland than you guys, though. I have Loveland pretty like as a fantasy player. I have him pretty close to Tyler Warren. Now, as an NFL player, I don't think he's going to get nearly the draft capital.
I think
He's
that's
probably
fair.
going to be a late first, but he's going to be used in such a way, and his athletic ability, his football ability, is just going to allow him to score fantasy points like a madman. So I have him pretty close to Warren.
You might not be that much higher.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
I mean, I could be convinced to take him 105 or 106.
I'm the same boat.
The right offense, absolutely.
I mean, I actually wouldn't be opposed to taking him above Warren if he gets in the right, with the right team.
That's what I'm trying to see. That's what I'm talking about. If it's perfect landing spot for Loveland and worst landing spot for Warren, Colts or whatever, I'd have to give it serious thought.
Yeah, for fantasy, it's really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he is really electric. Very good on the routes. He's just not a good blocker. So for tight end prospect, he doesn't get there.
Right. So you have to worry, does he fall into the kind of part-time Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta?
Yeah. Yeah. The Kincaid's a great example because I loved Kincaid, and that's the problem is they use Knox too much as well.
It has to be the right offense.
I think it's I mean, I think that's pretty harsh on Loveland, to be honest. I don't think he's a poor run blocker. I think he's serviceable. Reminds me a little bit of kind of like an Evan Ingram situation where they're probably going to use him outside of run packages the majority of the time. He's just that good of a player. You don't want to take that kind of player off the field. I think he's a better player than Kincaid was as a prospect, to be honest with you. And I'd be shocked if he goes below top 15 in the NFL draft. I think it's with how this class is, maybe because he's a tight end, he slips a little bit, but I mean, I think he's a really, really talented player.
I like him better than Kincaid, and I like him a lot better than I liked Laporta. In fact, I was not as high on Laporta as I should have been. I felt like I kind of missed the boat a little bit. I mean, I got shares of Laporta, but like my fears about him being Laporta just not being a functional blocker at all, just being a big receiver, kind of came true.
Yeah,
I just not quite to that extreme.
I think if Loveland put on some weight, I think he's a 3-down tight end. Like, I think it's fine.
He'd be really fun on the Texans, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe really fun on a lot of places.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think he fit well with the Texans. I also think he would fit well with the Dolphins, if not for Jonnu Smith.
That's fair.
But I think he's a much better player than Jonnu.
Yeah. Yeah, if he puts on like a 5 to 8 pounds of muscle mass, I mean, I think he's
funny because he came in at 245, so it's not like he's small, but he doesn't look like he plays that way.
Yeah, he's big. He's like lean, tall and lean.
Yeah,
he's pretty lean. Yeah, he just seems a little lanky still. But
Yeah.
I think he'll grow into it.
And I'm surprised he tested slower than Warren. I thought he
Yeah.
looked quick on tape, but his 10-yard split and 40 were both slower than Warren's.
Yeah.
He just needs that NFL vitamin D ball program. He'll be fine.
And some guys just play faster than they test.
Yeah,
And
true.
that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking minimal differences. I was surprised. I thought he would test quicker.
Yeah, I thought so too. I'm with you on that one.
All right, so moving on to tight end 3.
That's correct.
Who you got, Austin?
I'm probably going to be the outlier. I'm going to believe in the tape and have Harold Fanning Jr. 3 until the NFL tells me otherwise. He didn't test great, but man, he just knows how to get open and catch the ball. It's
Pretty
just that
smooth player.
simple. Very good against the zone. He's just a good player, and we see a lot of these guys come out, and a lot of them don't work, which is why I'm saying the NFL is going to have to show me that what I believe to be true. But if he does get the capital, then that means the team believes that he can be that. I feel like he's too good of a player to own the tape to not be successful.
All right, let's see who Chad has as his number 2, and then I'll decide
3.
between the 2. I mean, number 3, and then I'll decide between the 2. Chad, who's your number 3 tight end?
Man, I just wanted to talk about Fannin a little bit, but
You can.
okay, yeah. So I do like him as a wide receiver. Don't really like him as a tight end. No, I think he's one of those guys that is great in theory for fantasy football purposes. I just man, unless he gets a draft capital like Austin's saying, it's tough for me to see a world where he's somebody's full-time tight end and he has a just a full-time role in an offense. I think he's I don't see a complete player there. But as a receiver, really, really, really fun to watch. I think if somebody does, does just deploy him, not saying that he's a bad run blocker, but if they deploy him in the passing game the way that he probably could be deployed, and was deployed at Bowling Green, he could end up being a steal in rookie draft. So it's going to be fun to watch how that ends up and what team he ends up on, for me personally. But yeah. What was your question, Jesse?
Who's your tight end 3?
Oh, yeah. So my tight end 3 is Elijah Arroyo, tight end for Miami. So really, really, really like Arroyo. I think he's going to be a good NFL player, and that's kind of why I have him. I think he's one of those players that is just a tough, dependable tight end who's going to play football. So I think he has a decent route tree, maybe not as developed as some of the other guys in the class, but I think he's tough, dependable player who's pretty safe, I think, in my eyes. So
really smooth, really good hands. I really was looking forward to seeing his testing, and then it didn't happen.
yeah,
So,
Wasn't it a knee issue? Isn't that
yeah,
what it was? Which has been his problem the past 3 years, which is a
Yeah.
huge red flag
Yeah.
for me.
yeah. There are some injury concerns, so we'll have to let the NFL figure that out. They can see the medicals.
Yeah, to me, he's the exact opposite of Fanning.
yeah,
Awesome specimen that looks like he should be an NFL tight end, just
Mhm.
didn't produce to that level in college. So it's like the exact opposite to me.
yeah.
So one of those most likely work out, and both of them could, but it's a huge question mark for me with Arroyo.
I mean,
And
Loveland is that too, though, isn't he? He didn't produce to the level he should have.
Well, that's the offense. You could see that. Cam Ward put up 4,000-yard passing, and Arroyo didn't even have 500. So, like, it's not. Michigan just had an atrocious offense last year. I mean, Loveland was the offense.
Yeah.
So that's the big
Yeah.
difference for me there. But Arroyo, there's just so many question marks. He's number 5 for me.
Wow.
I can see the ceiling, and I can see him being an absolute success in the NFL, but he also feels like a project that is going to have to go to the perfect offense to be productive.
Mm-hmm.
Arroyo for me, he's like, he feels like one of those classic like safety blankets, which those are the kind of guys that I like. He just seems like a really smart player. Just seems to find the holes in zone coverage, is able to make adjustments. I just really like what I see. You just have to see more consistency, and then also injury concerns. He's got to stay healthy. Right? Like I think he missed like 2 seasons, right? Or the bulk of two different seasons. So
yeah, he only played 1 full season.
Yeah.
There's something about him that the injuries included that reminds me of David Njoku.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. Yeah.
I don't think he has as good a hands personally, but Njoku struggled with that early, so I guess that's fair.
That's true.
Njoku's hands were pretty rough. Yeah,
that's
they were really rough.
So that is fair. That's a good point.
All right, Chad, who's your 4?
Hold on, let me get my list back up.
Oh, if I were to have to pick between the two of those, I'd take Arroyo. By the way,
yeah,
I think his path to
he's your 3
NFL success. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got Mason Taylor.
He's my 4 as well.
Okay, he's my 4 as well. And
Look at there.
is my 5. So, all right, talk about Mason Taylor, Chad.
Yeah, really, really good receiving tight end. I think he's a pretty versatile player. Another guy that I think has an above average kind of for a prospect, above average intelligence on the field. One thing that's maybe lacking with him. What did he run the 40?
Yes, 4.65.
That's not as bad as I was thinking.
That's pro day.
Oh, pro day. Okay. Yeah, watching him, he maybe seemed like he didn't have the long speed that you'd like to see with somebody of his profile.
5. Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably low 4.7s like every other tight end in this class. It feels like.
Yeah, and the run blocking's a little sus with him, but yeah, decent number 4.
Yeah, he did have a terrible shuttle, 4.52 shuttle.
Okay,
which is really bad.
Yeah.
Do I need my tight end running shuttles out there?
I mean, yeah, the lateral agility is pretty important for a tight end. So yeah, I think so.
I mean, we're getting to the point where if he gets draft capital, he's sort of like I'd like to take a stab at a guy like this in the late 2nd of a rookie draft.
Yeah,
at best. But he could definitely be a 3rd, 4th round rookie draft guy.
Yeah, I think that's probably an early 3rd would probably be the likely situation. But I think a second round NFL capital is pretty realistic.
I mean, weird things happen with tight ends in the NFL draft. You know, the Brenton Strange, Cameron Latu. There's teams don't think the way we do about tight ends. We look at it from a pass catching lens, and teams don't always deploy their tight ends that way.
Yeah.
But Brenton Strange actually is really an interesting name to me. If they draft a tight end, right? If they draft one of these guys, it tells you they don't like him, and that was the previous regime, and that guy probably has a pretty good shot. But
I was about to say until they draft Tyler Warren at 5, and then bye Brenton Strange.
But if not, man, sneaky ad. All right. Anybody else we care about? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say who your 4 was, or who your 5 was, Austin?
Yeah, mine's Arroyo. So y'all pretty much opposite for me is Fanning and Arroyo. I have them swapped. Gotcha. 3 and 5.
Chad, who's your 5?
My 5 is Gunnar Helm.
Oh, that's right, Gunnar Helm. That's
my 6th.
I like Gunnar Helm because he's just a big, badass football player from Texas.
Yeah, he is.
It's pretty good. That's really about all you need to say, to be honest. like that fits him so well.
Yeah.
If you told me that Gunnar Helm had a 12-year career as a starting tight end in the NFL, I'd be like, okay, I see it.
Yeah, right.
Will say for fantasy, he did not meet the threshold for
Yeah.
production. The NFL 4.8, 4.40,
Mm.
30-inch vertical. Like he didn't test well at all in any 1.69 10-yard split. Like he tested honestly terrible.
Isn't he the guy that sprained his ankle and went out and did it anyway?
I don't remember who I heard that about, but I did hear some
I
story
think that
about
was
somebody spraining their ankle.
I think that was Gunnar Helm.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, seriously. I think he hurt himself and then was like, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
I mean,
just like that.
Yeah.
I thought watching him, he seemed pretty athletic.
Put on a black
fairly
cowboy hat.
athletic, but yeah, I didn't really pay attention to his combine numbers too much, but yeah, I think he's one of those guys that he's not really going to depend on his athleticism. He's going to just be a really kind of dependable in the middle of the defense, just breaking things down. And that's what I like about him. I love tight ends like that. Going to be a Jason Witten kind of player. And I think I think that'd be cool. So Gunnar Helm, and cool name, right? What the hell?
Yeah.
It is awesome name.
So I've already acquired my first share. I got him at 409 in a 14-team trade.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if I can get him in the 4th round, that's perfect.
That won't happen, but you look brilliant right now.
Yeah. I'm feeling good.
Actually, I mentioned Jason Witten, and I just looked up, some other comps for him that people were talking about, and Dalton Schultz is who people are throwing around.
Yeah, I could see that.
If he can rise to that level, I'll be very impressed with him. That would be great. I think that's an ideal scenario for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else we care about at tight end? Oh yeah, for Ferguson, I guess I'd take a shot at him in the late rounds. He tested pretty well. He tested better than all the other guys.
He did.
Yeah.
The tape's not amazing.
No,
There's not a lot of examples of him doing things that make me think he's going to be a great player, but he tested well. So
it's such an odd offense, though. Watching the tape,
Yeah.
the tight ends do such weird things. Like they
Yeah,
don't
that's
do
what I'm
normal
saying.
tight end things.
there's not a lot of opportunity to see him do things that you'll see an NFL player do. So it's a tough eval. If he's worth a stab, with a late rookie draft, depending on,
Yeah, the athleticism's awesome. 1.55 10-yard split with a 39-inch vert. Like that's awesome for a tight end.
Yeah. We get a guy like that every year, though. You remember Zach Kuntz?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always draft capital dependent. Always.
Who did Kuntz end up with? The Jets?
Jets. And
Yeah.
I think they cut him, though. He's probably on somebody's practice.
That's
squad.
like a tight end black hole, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They took the guy from Ohio State, and remember you were really high.
Oh, Jeremy Ruckert. Yeah, that's
Ruckert,
right.
yeah.
Jeremy Ruckert.
They took Rucker, and wow.
I was trying to think of who that was. Yeah, I did like Jeremy Ruckert a lot.
And
Kuntz
Kuntz in the same year. Neither one of them worked out, and they went through the whole 15 tight end anyway.
Yeah. Well, on the athleticism thing that does work out with limited tape is Tucker Kraft. Super athletic guy, didn't have a ton of tape. Offense wasn't, towards him in college, but worked out very well. That would be the counterpoint to that.
True.
Yeah.
Took Musgrave's job.
Yep.
Well,
he was a better prospect to begin with. I don't know why people didn't see that, but the only other name I will say, which is super draft dependent, is Oronde Gadsden.
Right.
2023 tape is completely different than 2024, which I don't know if that's a dig at Kyle McCord or the offense or what. But he looked electric in 2023.
He's literally just a big receiver, though.
Yeah, he's an outside tight end for sure. No inline blocking. I don't even know if you can find the tape on it.
I mean, he started at Ohio State as a receiver.
I think that's right.
There's some receivers in this class that block better than him.
Yeah, that shoot that block more than him.
Yeah, that's true. And that's
Yeah,
coming
big
from
trade.
somebody who like enjoys watching Syracuse football, like family ties and stuff.
Gross. Anything else at tight ends, or can we move on? Put a
Nah,
cap
that's
on
all.
it. All right.
Nice.
Watching anything good?
Duke make it to the Final Four.
Right on.
That was really
Yep.
good.
That was great.
That was really good.
Cooper Flag, former future Sixer.
Hopefully
Let's hope
not.
not.
Hopefully
Cooper
not.
Flag, future former Sixer.
I would
I'm
rather
sure-
him go to the
sure.
Jazz, which is saying something.
I agree. He'd be really good with Laurie Markkinen.
He's going to be really good anywhere he goes.
Mhm.
He's a
Oh, yeah.
extremely talented player
Yeah, he is. He's got the skill set.
and has the work ethic and drive to become great.
You think he'll be a better NBA player than Dylan Harper?
Yes, but I do like Harper a lot. But yeah, I think Cooper has the drive to become arguably the best Duke NBA player ever,
Wow.
Yeah, probably.
and has the skill set to do that as well.
Better
Obviously,
than
health
Christian
is huge.
Leitner of all people. Come on.
Of all the names, you say that one, but
It's the
I mean,
one I
it would-
remember most.
it would be Tatum, Kyrie, Grant Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Like Grant Hill pre-injury is the best Duke NBA
Grant
player
Hill
of all
is
time.
One of the best players I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I think he has that kind of talent and work ethic. So it'll be interesting.
Right on. What about Ace Bailey? You think he's in that tier?
No, I'm an Ace Bailey hater.
I am too, kind of like. I mean, as a college player, he's great.
Not
Just
really.
as a-
Not he really wasn't.
As a,
As a prospect, he looks awesome.
I just don't think he's gonna. He's not gonna shoot enough to be a good NBA player.
Well, he takes contested shots in college because he can't get open.
Mm.
Like that's not a good sign because the
Mm.
defense, though they don't play it in the NBA, the defense is a lot better. So I mean, he has an avenue because of the size, the skill, the.
I mean, they
length.
play in the playoffs.
Yeah, so yeah, but he's got to be on a roster to make that, and
Yeah.
good luck there.
Let's
Chad,
see.
you watch anything?
I did watch a Netflix documentary called Gone Girls. Of the
Oh
Long
yeah,
Island
that's
serial
what I was
killer.
about
Me
to bring
too.
up. The Go-Go murderer.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, pretty nuts.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
How they could have solved it 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
When
they had
the world's most psychotic leprechaun had seen him and reported
That
him
dude
to
was
the police.
awesome.
Yeah,
He did. He told the police.
yeah, he did. And the guy with the tattoo on his neck that was going to let the pit bull out loose.
Yeah. 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 They
I
tried.
like
He's like,
I like
was he driving an avalanche? And was he a 6-foot ogre? 6'8" ogre?
No,
Yeah,
I like
that
how not only did they have that, but the girl was like her remains were found like literally right by where she was known to be, and
Yeah.
they were like, why didn't you search there? And they're like, well, that place kind of sucks. So
Yeah, it's not a very
You
good
know?
place to go to. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, isn't
makes
that
sense.
your job? Like,
And literally, they fired the police chief and the DA, and like a couple months later, they had him arrested. It
yeah,
really didn't take long at all.
Well, shoot, no, that was like 3 DAs later. Now they actually tried after the first DA, but the first DA didn't do anything. He was like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And except for he didn't do any work to figure anything out.
Well, the police chief called them misdemeanor murders.
Yeah, it's wild, bro.
What a dick.
It is
yeah. If you
wild.
haven't seen that, and you like documentaries on really anything, it's just a good documentary.
It
It's
is.
really good.
Definitely check that out. It's worth a watch.
We also watched one called Hollywood. Well, I guess it's a show. It's a series, Hollywood Demons. The first one was about the dad on that show, Seventh Heaven.
Oh
guys remember
yeah,
that show?
I watched that too. Yeah,
With
the heck was his
Jessica
name?
Biel. Damn it.
yeah, I don't remember it either. But that was also
Steven.
extremely crazy.
Steven something or other.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can remember too. I didn't want to say his first name. Like
I
know.
remember him as Dean Dennis's real dad on Always Sunny. He banged their mom, and he
I
played
could
the
see
guy
that being the show you watched and not Seventh Heaven.
for sure. But yeah, he was not a good guy.
No, not at all.
Not a good dude. I think that's it. Oh, Love on the Spectrum's back. So love those guys, man. So
I
heartwarming
don't know
to watch.
anything about that.
Oh God, man. Just
Is that like a 50+ show, kind of like This Is Us?
I don't know. No, it's young people on the spectrum finding love with
Hey,
each other.
don't disrespect This Is Us.
It's called This Is Us Crying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll throw that one out there. From the same creators, there's a show called Paradise. Have you guys seen anything about this?
No.
Apparently the world ends and the one guy, oh, we lost Chad.
Look, that's how bad it was.
Yeah. The adopted guy on This Is Us is one of the people that gets saved in this big underground facility, and then president gets murdered. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Sounds a little bit more interesting, at least.
It was, but it's really slow, and it's
Oh.
very annoying and very emotional, and I'm over it already. All right, well, we lost Chad, so you got anything else?
That's all, buddy.
All right, this has been the Front Office.
Nice. Peace.